Elon Musk Zimbabwe new generation, self-powering cars will destroy the entire industry, so what does it take to scare the guy who completely rewrote the rules for the modern car industry? For Elon Musk, the king of the EV world, you'd think the answer would be a new rival from Germany or a revolutionary battery from Japan, but it's not. The story that's bubbling up from under the surface, the one sending whispers of panic through the halls of Tesla, isn't about any of that. It's about a little-known inventor from Zimbabwe. The internet is buzzing with rumors that Elon Musk has made a bombshell revelation, one he probably never meant to let slip. Unconfirmed reports claim he's acknowledged the existence of a self-powering car, a car that never needs gas and, more importantly, never needs to be plugged in. But this wasn't some proud announcement. The story goes that it was a warning that this technology, born in the heart of Africa, is so disruptive that it threatens to bring the entire global auto and energy industry crashing down, starting with Tesla itself. This is the story of the invention they might not want you to know about, the story of a technology that could potentially free all of us from the grip of big oil and the endless expense of the electric grid. It's the story of Maxwell Chikumbutso and why his incredible, controversial creation could mean the world is about to change forever. When we think of world-changing innovation, our minds usually go to a few specific places: Silicon Valley labs, high-tech hubs in Shenzhen, or the engineering powerhouses of Germany. We've been sort of trained to believe that genius follows the money. But what if the next great leap forward didn't come from any of them? What if it came from a workshop in Harare, Zimbabwe, from a man most of us have never even heard of? Maxwell Chikumbutso isn't your typical tech CEO. He doesn't have a degree from MIT or Stanford. He wasn't funded by a bunch of venture capitalists. His story is one of raw talent, relentless curiosity, and what he calls an almost spiritual drive to solve some of the world's biggest problems. From a young age, he was obsessed with the invisible forces of energy, teaching himself engineering and working with scrap parts to build things that everyone else told him were impossible. Well, that vision has now taken the form of something the world is finding very hard to ignore: a fleet of vehicles that are claimed to run on their own, forever. Think about that. A car that never sees a gas station. An EV that has never once been plugged into a wall. This isn't just a concept on a computer screen. These vehicles have reportedly been built and have been demonstrated on the roads of Zimbabwe, gliding silently past stunned onlookers, powered by a force that mainstream science says shouldn't exist. The technology, developed by Chikumbutso's company, Seth Technologies, is supposedly built around a microsonic energy device. The principle is as simple as it is revolutionary. The device is said to harness the vast untapped ocean of ambient radio frequencies that surround us every day. It takes these invisible waves from things like radio and TV broadcasts and converts them into clean, usable, and continuous electricity. The implications of this are just staggering. One of his showcased vehicles, a sleek SUV, is claimed to have an unlimited driving range. It can allegedly hit speeds of 220 km per hour, 137 miles per hour, and has all the modern bells and whistles, including autonomous driving features. But the one feature that changes everything is the one that's missing: there's no charging port. Chikumbutso didn't stop with cars. It's claimed his technology can also turn the car into a mobile generator, powerful enough to run an entire house. Imagine a blackout, and you just plug your home right into your car. He's also showcased self-powered TVs and motorcycles, all supposedly running on the same principle of free, limitless energy. This isn't just an upgrade to what we have. It's a full frontal assault on the entire foundation of our energy-dependent world. And it all started with one man in Zimbabwe who dared to see things differently. When you come forward with something as wild as a self-powering car, the establishment really only has one weapon: ridicule. The first thing you'll hear is, it violates the laws of physics. Mainstream scientists and a whole army of online skeptics have been quick to call Chikumbutso's work a hoax or pseudoscience. They point to the first law of thermodynamics that energy can't be created or destroyed, and argue that the energy from ambient radio waves is way too weak to power a car. They tell us it's impossible, but is it? Let's be honest, history is full of impossibilities that later became everyday facts. Lord Kelvin, one of the sharpest minds of his day, famously declared that heavier-than-air flying machines are impossible. He was wrong. Top physicists in the 1930s called the idea of nuclear energy moonshine. They were wrong too. The scientific establishment has a long history of defending the old way of thinking, right up until some lone genius proves them all wrong. Chikumbutso and his supporters argue that this is exactly what's happening right now. They say his device doesn't create energy from nothing. It just harvests it from an existing source, kind of like how a solar panel harvests sunlight. The only difference is, this source is supposedly available 24/7, everywhere on the planet. The exact science is a closely guarded secret, which his supporters say is for terrifyingly good reasons. But the results have been publicly demonstrated. The documentary Thrive 2 featured his work prominently, sending a team to Zimbabwe to investigate. The film presents their findings as a confirmation that his generator worked exactly as claimed, bringing his story to a global audience. The refusal by some to even consider the possibility is a classic symptom of institutional bias. The peer review system, designed to ensure quality, can sometimes act as a gatekeeper to shut down ideas that rock the boat. So, when you hear it's impossible, maybe what they really mean is that it's impossible based on what they already know. Maybe they're trying to measure a revolution with an old ruler. Progress doesn't always wait for permission from textbooks. The question isn't whether the science is real, the demonstrations suggest something is happening. The real question is, why are some people trying so hard to convince you that it isn't okay? Let's say you just invented a car that never needed fuel, a device that could give free, clean energy to everyone on Earth. What would you expect? Magazine covers, a Nobel Prize? World leaders lining up at your door, right? That's not what happened to Maxwell Chikumbutso. Instead, he's faced a wall of silence from the media, ridicule from academics, and, according to his own story, something much, much darker. To understand why, you just have to follow the money. The entire global economy runs on energy scarcity. It's a system controlled by a few massive industries that need you to keep paying them. First, there's the multi-trillion-dollar oil and gas industry. Their whole business model is based on selling you a finite resource at an ever-increasing price. A self-powering car doesn't just hurt demand for gas, it wipes it out. Instantly, every oil field, every refinery, every gas station on Earth becomes a historical artifact. They have every reason in the world to want this technology to disappear. But it's not just big oil. Think about the giant car companies, Ford, Toyota, VW. They've just spent hundreds of billions of dollars trying to switch to electric. They've built huge battery factories for a technology that's expensive and environmentally questionable. Chikumbutso's invention makes their entire EV strategy look like a dead end. And what about the king of EVs, Tesla? Elon Musk's empire isn't just about cars. It's about controlling the whole system, the supercharger network. The Powerwall batteries, all designed to swap our dependence on oil for a new dependence on an electric grid that Tesla wants to dominate. Chikumbutso's car just walks past that whole system. No grid needed, no charging stations needed. It threatens the absolute core of Tesla's business model. This isn't just paranoia. There's a pattern. Inventors who get close to free energy have a history of running into trouble. Chikumbutso himself has made a bone-chilling allegation that's hard to ignore. He claims that on a trip to the US, he and his partner were poisoned in an assassination attempt. Chikumbutso survived. He says his partner tragically did not. He believes it was a direct attack from powerful people who want his technology buried. While these are his personal allegations and lack independent verification, they paint a frightening picture. This is what can happen when you challenge the status quo. The media might not report on it because their advertisers are the car and oil companies. The scientific community might dismiss it because their funding comes from the very system this would append. It's a conspiracy of shared interests, an alliance dedicated to protecting their empires. They aren't just ignoring Maxwell Chikumbutso, some believe they are actively trying to erase him. For years, Elon Musk has been the ultimate disruptor, the rebel genius who laughed at the old guard. He was the outsider who built an empire they all said was impossible. But in the world of disruption, you're either the one doing the disrupting, or the one getting disrupted. And with the story of Maxwell Chikumbutso's technology, Elon Musk, for the first time, might find himself on the wrong side of a revolution. So, where do these rumors of Musk's panic come from? Mostly from the depths of the internet, with no official confirmation? But let's entertain the idea for a second. Why would the man who leads the EV world even mention a technology that could make his company obsolete? If the rumors are true, was it a slip-up or a calculated warning to his own industry? Whatever the case, the idea itself is powerful. The king is worried. And maybe he should be. Tesla's entire kingdom is built on one thing: the lithium-ion battery, the gigafactories, the supply chains, the supercharger network. It's all built on the idea that cars have to be charged. Chikumbutso's claimed technology makes that entire multi-billion-dollar ecosystem look like a horse-drawn carriage. Musk isn't the underdog anymore. He's the establishment. He runs a massive corporation under pressure to deliver profits. He can't just pivot to a completely new technology without torpedoing his own company's value. To admit that batteries might be obsolete would be financial suicide. This puts him in a fascinating hypothetical bind. If he ignores Chikumbutso, he risks getting blindsided. If he fights the technology, he becomes the villain, the very corporate giant trying to crush innovation for profit. And if he tries to buy it, well, reports claim Chikumbutso has already turned down big money offers, determined to keep his invention for Africa. The alleged statement from Musk, calling the technology one of the most disruptive ever seen, is, for many, an admission of fear. It's the sound of an empire seeing its own mortality. He knows what true disruption looks like because he's the one who did it. And now, he might see that same playbook being used against him by an inventor from a place nobody was watching. The battle may no longer be Tesla versus Ford. It could be batteries versus no batteries for a minute. Let's just imagine. Let us step past the skepticism and the conspiracy and just think about the world this technology could create. This is bigger than cars. It's about rewiring our entire civilization and solving some of the biggest problems we face. First, the economic freedom. The average person spends thousands a year on gas or electricity for their car. What if that cost just went to zero forever? That's not just a little saving. It's a permanent pay raise for everyone now. Think bigger. The cost of shipping would plummet, making everything cheaper. Farms could run equipment without fuel costs, making food cheaper. This could be the end of inflation driven by energy prices. Now, think about the developing world. In huge parts of Africa and Asia, the lack of reliable power is the biggest roadblock to progress. How do you build an economy with no grid? Chikumbutso's technology, if real, leapfrogs that whole problem. For the first time, a world-changing innovation wouldn't be trickling down from a superpower. It would be rising up from Africa, with the potential to rebalance the scales and lift billions out of poverty. And then there's the planet. We're told the climate crisis is this impossibly complex problem. But what if it wasn't? Chikumbutso's technology offers a true zero-emissions world. Not net zero, but actual zero. No tailpipes, no power plants, and, critically, no need for the destructive mining of lithium and cobalt that's scarring the planet. This would be a technology that lets the Earth heal. This isn't just a fantasy. Seth Technologies has announced plans for an assembly plant in Zimbabwe and has reportedly partnered with Chinese manufacturers to supply vehicle bodies, signaling they are preparing for something big. While some in the West try to ignore it, other parts of the world seem to be paying attention. You can build walls of silence, but you can't stop an idea whose time has come. We're standing at a crossroads. Down one path is the world we know, a world of scarcity, control, and dependence. It's a world of rising costs and endless fights over resources. Down the other path is the world that Maxwell Chikumbutso's story promises. A world of freedom, abundance, and empowerment. A world where clean, limitless energy might not be a commodity to be sold, but a fundamental human right. The story of the self-powering car from Zimbabwe is the ultimate underdog tale. The forces that would be arrayed against a technology like this are obviously immense. They would be fighting to protect their profits and their power. They would tell you it's impossible. They would label a visionary a fraud. They would do everything to keep you in their system. The revolution isn't coming. It's knocking on the door. It's sitting in a workshop in Zimbabwe, ready to change everything. The only question left is, why do you think so many people are trying to hide it from you? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you believe stories like this need to be told, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Join us as we keep digging for the truths they don't want you to find.